Life expectancy is hard for liberals. I gotta read you this comment. This is fantastic. Ah! All right, so we go back to my we go back to my video. Number 2 reason you'll run out of money is based on life expectancy. It's a great video. I got, what, 8,500 views, 7,000 views basically in 2 days, something like that. It's pretty good. So it's a good video. I love doing these videos because it's fun. But I'm going to show you a comment that I pinned. Let's see if we go down to comments. Actually, how do I go to comments here? Hold on a sec. So my man Scoom, big lib, and I'm sure he's, I'm not a liberal, I'm an independent. But anyway, check this out. This is funny. This is funny. Your analysis, by the way, he spells "you're" wrong. Don't be that guy. I mean, I hate the typo Nazis online. I hate that crap. He can't even spell "you're" right. Don't do that. That's embarrassing. Anyway, your analysis of comparing the life expectancies of men at age 60 isn't correct. You're not comparing apples to apples. The 60-year-olds now include a lot of people that would already be dead had they not had various forms of medical intervention. All right, so basically, let's just keep reading that. People with those various diseases that we can treat now but could not then, okay, whatever. You also have a lot more obese people that age, okay, I don't understand. The 60-year-olds in 1900 represented a much smaller percentage of the initial population, were basically super healthy people that would not need medical help. All right, so the point being is he's saying you're not comparing apples and apples in life expectancy. Yes. And he says, so that's what he's saying, which is so freaking dumb, man. It's because we're going to show you the chart. Let's see. If they had lived, they might get it at age 70. Okay, I don't know. All right, to be fair, you would have to take only a select percentage of 6-year-olds in 2022 and compare them to 6-year-olds in 19. Okay, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. So let me show you why he's wrong. All right, so because this is idiotic, and he doesn't get it. He thinks he's getting me. And then he's got this person right here. JW, much of Josh's interpretation of data is wrong. Can't believe how much garbage I hear on this channel. I listen for entertainment. Ooh, the libs got me. All right, so let's just look at it. It's silly. This chart from Social Security is literally comparing apples to apples. It's literally doing that, Scoob. I mean, come on, man. This is freaking infantile crap here. It's elementary. They're saying a male who is 60 has a life expectancy in 1900 of living another 14 years. So if you survived until you're 60, you had another life expectancy of 14 years. You would die on average at 74. We are literally comparing, you're not literally comparing apples to apples. You're literally comparing people who have lived till they're 60 from 1900 to people who lived there until they're 60 from, was it 2021, I think. It can go to 2022, but we're not out of the year. So right there. That's a literal comparison of the exact same group of people. Those who survived until they're 60 in 1900 lived until they're 74 on average. In 2021, those who survived until they're 60 will live on average until they're 81. That is a literal comparison. It's just so freaking, it's so elementary. If you're 65 in 1900, those who survived until they're 65 lived until they're on average 76. You fast forward to 2021, those who survived until they're 65 lived until they're 82. I don't understand. The point about life expectancy, why most people don't get it, is they say, look, our life expectancy as a newborn baby at 40 in 1900 is only 46. And the life expectancy of a newborn baby in 2021 is now 76. So they say, see, our life expectancy is zoomed. No, it hasn't, man. It hasn't. If you survived being born, you had a pretty good life expectancy, even back then. That is a fact. Look at this. If you survived until you're 30 in 1900, you had a life expectancy of another 35 years until you're 65. If you survived until you're 30 in 2021, you had a life expectancy of 47 more years. The point being is a vast majority of deaths occurred right here. And I'm going to show you again for the 20,000th time as babies. And this is the whole reason why you got to read the book on Enoch Semmelweis. There, because medical intervention is what was causing babies to die in the 1800s. Read the book. Germs, childbed fever, and the strange story of Enoch Semmelweis, a doctor's plague by Sherwin Newland. Medical intervention was causing infants to die because they did not listen to somebody who was outside the orthodox. Oh my goodness, could that mean anything like today? Yeah, it does. It's the same freaking thing. What's happening with COVID? What's happening with various jabba jabbas? Medical intervention is what caused infants to die at childbirth, and their moms too, by the way. This isn't debatable. It's not debatable. And anyone who says, no, all these different medical technologies, no. There was no medical technology that saved babies' lives other than washing their hands of delivery doctors. And in fact, it's actually quite interesting. Midwives, everyone's, you can't give birth by midwife. No, that's crazy. They had a success rate that was through the roof relative to the doctors. In fact, let me show you something. Liberals don't read because they don't take the time because they know it all. There's no reason to read because they know it all. Here's a great book, A Midwife's Tale, The Life of Martha Ballard, based on her diary from 1785 to 1812. She was a midwife in Maine. All right, Maine's cold. There was no electricity back then. She was a midwife. She kept stats. Now, you could say, well, she's lying. Okay, that's fine. Show evidence of that. You have none. You will never have any. But she comparative maternal mortality rates. All right, and she looked at basically, and she has tables of this. London, Dublin, Martha Ballard, United States. All right, so comparative maternal mortality rates. And so she didn't actually keep these stats. I'm going to share, she kept her own stats, what Martha's stillbirth rates were. And then the lady who wrote the book, Laurel Thatcher Ulrich, had looked at other tables relative to Martha Ballard's time. All right, so in London, the deaths per 1,000 births were 27. Deaths per 1,000 births in London were from 1767 to 1772. They averaged about 27 deaths per 1,000 births. And Dublin is about 14. Martha was about 5. And the U.S. is 6.7 on average. In 1930, 1935 is 5.8. 1940 is 3.8. And Martha in 1777 to 1812 averaged 5 deaths per 1,000 births, which is even better than we had in the United States all the way up until 1940. Midwife. Oh, but she needed medical intervention by the doctors. All right, and then we're going to look at Martha relative to other actual doctors, boots on the ground. Martha, 1785 to 1812, stillbirths per 1,000, 1.8. She delivered 814 births and had, per 100, excuse me. Stillbirths per 100, 1.8. She delivered 814 babies and had 14 stillbirths from that time, 1785 to 1812. Dr. Hall Jackson had 511 births. He had 12 stillbirths. His stillbirths per 100 live was 2.4, which is 33% more than Martha. Dr. James Farrington, one of the bigwigs back that time, had 1,233 babies, births, of which 36 died. That's a 3.0 deaths per 100 live births. In Portsmouth, New Hampshire, they averaged 2.7. Marblehead, Massachusetts, 3.3. Exeter, New Hampshire, 1.9. And the United States as a whole, 2.0. And this is data, the United States was in 1942, by the way. Fetal deaths, here's the fetal death ratio defined as fetal deaths in 28 weeks or more of gestation per 1,000 live births. Martha Ballard. It's a midwife. Just some random chick freaking going house to house delivering babies and delivered them a hell of a lot better and safer than all the medical practitioners and all the medical intervention that there was. It's insane. And so we know for a fact with Enoch Semmelweis, I know liberals won't read because they know it all. They don't need to read. With Enoch Semmelweis, and he says, Sherwin Newland talks about the midwives are delivering babies that would live as well as a delivering mom. But then we got the doctors in there, and they said, don't send me to that ward, send me to this ward. They're like, but the doctor's over here. Yeah, I don't want to go there. I want to go to where the midwives are. And we go with Martha Ballard, her own studies right here, her own diary. And she was more safe at delivering babies than the United States as a whole was in 1940, and she was doing it 1777 through 1812. The liberals just don't, this is the problem with liberals. I hate to say it, but conservatives fall into this category too. They don't take the time to open a damn book. And because of that, they don't, They get this blue versus red thing. They say, oh, I know it all. I know it all. And you don't know crap. You don't, because you have no interest in learning. And the lack of an interest is why we are here where we are today. Whereas red versus blue, Ukraine versus Russia, freaking Trump versus Sniffy Joe, the whole thing, I just is so freaking infantile and boring. But real lives are at stake here, man. Real lives. And unfortunately, your own life is at stake if you don't take the time to do some research. No one cares about your money like you. No one cares about your health like you. So just listen. When I went to the doctor, and the first thing she did, oh, your blood pressure's high. Here's a statin. I said, huh? I said, hell no, sister. You don't know the side effects of statins, so there aren't any. We should put in the water supply. I said, hell no. What are you talking about, man? And she's a doctor, the medical intervention. I always find it funny, the medical intervention, too, because we know what happens with the medical intervention, where that is causing. One of the leading causes of death is medical intervention, man. That's just a fact. Now, can you get, can doctors do surgery now that we couldn't do 100 years ago? Absolutely, what I'm saying. But that's not medical intervention, what people are saying. We all know what they're saying. Statins, boom, 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 MMR, the DPT, DTP, all that. We know what they're saying. And there's no, and I got to be careful. I'm not going to say anything more on that. I'm not going to say anything more, because if I do, I'll get banned. Just do some damn research, man. And look at the stats. The stats are overwhelmingly high that the cause of life expectancy for young infants was death because of the lack of indoor plumbing, the lack of cleanliness, and washing your hands as a doctor in the delivery room. That is a fact. Once we got rid of all that crap, the live births per 1,000 kids went through the roof, and it hasn't basically just leveled off ever since. Now, has we helped a little bit in terms of people living longer now, apples to apples, from 1900 till today? Yes. Why? Because of lack of lung disease. Why? Because less people are smoking, but also because we're not burning freaking wood inside our house. Let me show you something else here, too. Like obstructive pulmonary disease, the third leading cause of death in the world. COPD. 3.23 million deaths occurred from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Over 80% of these deaths occurred in low and middle income countries. Wonder why that is. What causes persistent and progressive respiratory symptoms, including difficulty breathing, coughing, and phlegm production? It results from long-term exposure to harmful gases and particles combined with individual factors which influence lung growth in childhood and genetics. Exposure to indoor air pollution, occupational dust, fumes, smoke. They say tobacco. But we know what happens when you're burning wood inside your home, and cow dung like they're doing in a lot of these poorer countries. That is what's causing it. The third leading cause of death is lung disease. We don't have that much as it here in the United States anymore. You know why? Because we have natural gas. Thank the good Lord for that. It just is so doggone frustrating. But medical intervention, that's the solution. Kind of like Homer Simpson. Alcohol, the cause and the solution for all of our problems. Medical information, at least Homer's admitting it's a cause and solution, alcohol. These guys, though, medical intervention, the solution for all life's problems. Like, could it possibly be the cause as well? There, guy. Let's see.